Welcome to the Fantasy Football Show on Sikkim 365 Radio, presented by Brotherwell Brewing.
It's Gronkowski back again.
Here's Paul Catalina, Steve May, and Grayson Grundhaver.
Welcome into the Fantasy Football Show here on 365 Sports. Please like and subscribe to our NFL channel, or Steve is going to send you a shirtless photo. If you don't like and subscribe, you're just going to get a shirtless photo from Steve.
Those fetch good money on the on the black market.
Well,
on the dark web.
On the dark web. Paul Catalina, Steve May, Grayson Grundhafer from the Austin Bureau. Of course, the Fantasy Football Show is brought to you by Brotherwell Brewing, who dropped off fresh from the beer factory, the brewery, the brand new Waco Town American IPA that they just canned. This is freshly canned on Monday. So, right off the line. Do we need to give Hayden one of these? Hayden, do you want one?
He's not 21 yet, is he?
He's like 36 years old.
Oh, okay.
In dog years. Hayden, come here. Walk across the camera. I don't care how it looks.
This is actually a high alcohol volume for an IPA.
Yeah, there you go.
So you can only drink half of one.
Yeah.
If you're manning the board.
So, ooh. You know what? That's tasty. I'm not surprised. But that is tasty. It's the Waco Town IPA. Nice and cold and delicious.
Very hoppy.
Yeah, fresh from the guys.
Yep.
At Brotherwell Brewing. So,
I like the can. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a very cool can.
Waco skyline.
Yes. People wouldn't confuse that for New York City or anything. Yeah. It's good.
Why would anybody do that?
I don't know. I'm just saying. Some people might. I don't know. Look, here's what I found out.
I've never been to New York, but it must look exactly like that.
Yeah. Some people are dumb, Steve.
Oh, we know that.
Yeah. Like Aaron Rodgers. Here's the reason I say he's dumb. Look, whether you believe him or not about the vaccine, don't quote Martin Luther King when you're trying to defend yourself. Don't do that. It's a different thing altogether.
Or carelessly throw around the word crucified.
Yeah, those things. Yeah. None of those things have happened to you. That's not what's happened to you. You're a millionaire who's going to be a millionaire and remain a millionaire.
You got made fun of on Saturday Night Live, and Joe Rogan came to your defense. That's what happened.
That's what happened. So it's not like the woke mob's coming for you. The woke mob doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Anyway, and that decision, guys, affected fantasy football in a lot of ways. If you had any big time Packers, they did not have a good week. Even Aaron Jones, didn't really, and nobody was afraid of Jordan Love. That was a huge thing in fantasy football last week. It was one of my rougher weeks. I went 1-2. Thankfully, the person I was playing had in my league that I do for 20 years had it rough. Our league, Steve, my guys, I'm not, it looked like the kind of score you have when somebody's on vacation and like, oh man, I forgot to set it. No, there was a lineup that was set. I just scored 54 points or whatever it was.
Yeah, we have a 12-team league, and only 3 of the 12 teams scored over 100 points. And, usually, it's the majority of teams are hitting 100 or more. So my game, I'm still in first place. I have a 7-2 record. But I won my game 77-68, something like that. Mm-hmm. It was just crazy. And you didn't even crack 60 points.
No, I didn't. And I kind of kept waiting for it to happen, Grayson, but it never did. It just never – you ever watch it's good, somebody's going to do something. And I started out with Michael Pittman, who had 14 points. That was most of my scoring right there on Thursday night, and then it was all over. How'd you do this week, Grayson?
Yeah, week 9 is one of those weeks you just kind of crumble up and you throw it in the garbage can because it was not a fun week as far as points go. But to be honest, I actually had a really good week. And it all kind of culminated Monday night when I had so the guy I was playing had Najee Harris, and I had Pat Freiermuth. And I needed Pat Freiermuth to beat Najee Harris in order for me to win. I came into the night up by 1 point. and the Muth was Luth, and I got the win. And so now I'm sitting there looking pretty. I'm in third place in that league. It's been a struggle. Christian McCaffrey, Jerry Judy, Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, Trey Sermon. I mean, that's kind of been my team's luck this year, but I'm finally starting to turn the corner. And then in my dynasty league, I had Matthew Stafford have one of his worst games of the year, and it almost cost me, but I was able to pull that one out as well, thanks to IDP Jalen Ramsey with his interception.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But other things happening this week. Russell Wilson's coming back, which makes Seattle much more attractive. No more Geno Smith. So Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf owners. Other news from Seattle is that Chris Carson's probably in his practice window soon.
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, in our league, Steve, I claimed him and put him on the IR.
There you go.
So I don't know what's going to happen, but if you can put him in the IR, it's a free roster spot. I don't have to make that decision for another couple weeks. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that Seattle running game has been just kind of piece, together. So Carson's going to help. McCaffrey, he was back last weekend, but this weekend he should be closer to full strength. Sam Darnold's going to be out for a long time. So McCaffrey owners should be happy because he's going to do everything. I think he'll probably even do some Wildcat stuff.
Yeah, Grayson, I think PJ Walker is actually going to make that offense a little fun for a couple weeks, don't you?
Yeah, I think that's possible. I also thought it was really funny watching or listening on Twitter. Someone put, he had an incomplete fracture is what they said. And someone quoted it and said he couldn't even complete a fracture. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it really affects Christian McCaffrey much at all. The guy who is just kind of left in no man's land, honestly, right now is DJ Moore.
Yeah.
I just don't really know what to think about him. Obviously, we're done with Robbie Anderson, but DJ Moore is the guy who I felt like, looked like he was going to have a great year to start the year. And I don't think it's going to all come together for him, unfortunately. I see him more as a wide receiver 2 rest of season and probably a low end wide receiver 2.
Yeah. But we also got some more back last week. Jerry Judy's back, had a nice game against the Cowboys. Of course, everybody who was from Denver had a nice day against the Cowboys last week. But it looks like they're using him in the offense as they were at the beginning of the year. And so now Denver, and I know that people aren't wild about Teddy Bridgewater. I was on a radio show in Denver last week, and they just hate him for being average.
Yes.
They just hate him for being average. But Teddy Bridgewater's far from their biggest problem. It's just easy to pick on one guy as opposed to like 11. But Teddy Bridgewater's going to be happy to have him back. They have Cortland Sutton, who's good, Tim Patrick. They've got some weapons in Denver, and I think, in my opinion, you're fine using all of them. I mean, maybe not Tim Patrick, might have been a 1-week deal, but Jerry Judy and Cortland Sutton, I say go full tilt with them.
Yeah, they at least last week they had a great game plan. The running game opened up the passing game, or vice versa, however you want to, which comes first, the chicken or the egg type thing. But yeah, they, the routes they were running were smart. People were open. They took some shots down the field. So I don't see any reason why that shouldn't continue. Denver's playing Philadelphia this week. Philadelphia defense isn't that strong. So Denver might be kind of a sneaky team to watch now in the rankings as we get ready for a playoff push.
Yeah. Grayson, your thoughts on anything else from last week or coming up this week that jumps out to you?
Well, first of all, just kind of back to Denver just a minute. I don't think Melvin Gordon is going anywhere. So a lot of people are saying just go get Devonte because his time's coming. I got to be honest. I mean, Melvin Gordon looks really good.
Yeah.
I'm just not really seeing Devonte looks good too. And don't get me wrong, he's the future, but I don't think Melvin's going away this year. Also, it's worth mentioning they lose Von Miller and look infinitely better on defense this week. So really weird turn of events. Great pickup by them going and getting Kenny Young from the Rams. He's definitely helped their linebacking core. So that's been a big kind of takeaway of mine. Honestly, I think outside of that, this week was just kind of one of those weeks where you just kind of sat back, and I didn't really take too much away from it just because it was kind of bad offense. People had down weeks, and on the flip side, there weren't huge games outside of maybe one takeaway that I do have, and that's I actually honestly believe that Jonathan Taylor and Najee Harris are going to be probably both top 3 running backs rest of season. I think there's a chance that could be 1 and 2 to finish the year.
Yeah. I think with Najee Harris, you just look at the way the Steelers play. Look at Ben Roethlisberger has nothing left. He has nothing left. They have to.
Yeah. If
they're going to stay in the playoff race, that offense has to run through Najee Harris. It cannot be on Ben anymore. It looks like he's running with cement shoes on when he's trying to avoid the rush. Ben's done. He's serviceable enough for what they need, but they have to get production through the running game for them to win games.
Was it today or yesterday? He admitted that his shoulder is kind of acting up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's surely this is his last year, but who knows? But Najee Harris, Claypool is banged up. I'm not sure what the extent of his injury is. So Harris is going to be obviously the focal point of that offense.
Yeah. So I think they have to. Another running back to notice lately, guys, James Conner, we've talked about a couple weeks ago. James Conner's really come on in the Cardinals offense, had a great week last week, and Chase Edmonds is banged up right now, left that game very early last week. So, more from James Conner. So if you're a James Conner owner, I think good things are ahead for you.
Yeah, and Chase Edmonds is actually going to be heading to the IR, so he'll be out at least 3 games. And for a guy, I started him last week, and he got 0.3 points because he went out on. And then I had to sit there and watch James Conner put on a show just because that was the game script. That was the Chase Edmonds game. James Conner had like a 60-yard touchdown in the air. Through the air. That was a Chase Edmonds game, so that was really unfortunate to see. But, hey, credit to James Conner. He's taking advantage of the opportunities, and when they get in the red zone, I don't think there's anybody that's a more sure thing right now than James Conner to get the ball in the end zone when they're, in goal-to-go situations, and, it's a good offense. So they're there often.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's take a break right here. When we come back, start 'em, sit 'em for both. We're going to combine the start 'em, sit 'ems in daily, and then we're streamlining. And then the third segment, we're, of course, going to draft our showdown team for daily fantasy for the Thursday night game, and the brand new segment that's sweeping America. Help Hayden's fantasy football team. That's what we're going to do. We're going to help Hayden's fantasy football team. We won Armstrong the championship last year.
That's right.
If we can do the same for Hayden this year, people are really going to have to start taking notice because Armstrong didn't know what he's doing, and we let him there. Hayden seems to know what he's doing and is still just making poor choices. We're going to help get him out of a bad cycle. That's what we're going to do. We're here to help.
We're going to have an intervention?
Yeah. We're counselors.
Okay.
Instead of fixing important things like addiction and, narcissism, we just help you with your fantasy football team. But, God gives us all our own little talents. Right. Some people can do heart surgery. Some people can help you with their fantasy football team. If you have a coronary, don't call us. But if you want to know to start Devontae Booker or Khalil Herbert, we're the guys you call. That's it. That's what we do. This is the Fantasy Football Show here on 365 Sports. Life is back on, sports bettors, and BetUS has your NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, UFC, PGA, and yes, NFL betting lines up for their 27th year and live betting on all of it. Log into BetUS.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BETUS. BetUS for 125% bonuses with promo code SICK'EM125. Customer service pros are ready to get your phone, social, and online sports betting kickoff started now. Play with the proven mainstay in the industry. BetUS. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Use promo code SICK'EM125.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back into the Fantasy Football Show, brought to you by Brotherwell Brewing. Paul Catalina, Steve May, and Grayson Grundhafer. And this is the brand new Waco Town IPA right there. You can get it. Mm-hmm. It's like angel tears right there. That's how
I need I need a T-shirt with that on there that says Waco Town.
All right, we'll
Get on
see.
that.
We'll suggest it to them.
Call their marketing.
Yeah.
person.
By the way, Steve and Grace and I would love for you to be able to come up for one of these on a Thursday night. Our presence has been requested for trivia again.
Okay.
I did it without you last time, and it was fun. But
that's not what I heard.
But it was like the captain without Tannehill. By the way, in this you're Tannehill. Just saying, you're Tannehill. So it was tough.
Tennille's still alive.
Yeah.
Captain is not.
Yeah. It's Steve without Edie.
Captain's real name is
Frank. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Can't remember. I don't know.
Daryl Dragon.
Oh, why didn't you do that name? Way better than the captain.
Because he had a hat. If you got the hat, you got to be called the captain.
I don't know. Just get a dragon hat. I don't know. I mean, like that. That's like if your name was like Greg Blade, and then you decided no, call me Tony Fart. I don't know. Like, why don't you do that? I don't get it. All right, stardom, sit 'em, guys. Steve was absent this last week because he was doing the very important job of taking his wife out for dinner on her birthday.
Yes.
Steve, I want to tell you this. Since I work here and this is my main job, I have to film a show, the big one too, which please like and subscribe to, with JD Piquel on Monday nights. Mm-hmm. Monday was my girlfriend's birthday. She had to wait. Wasn't my best moment, but I think I made up for it with the gift. So
there you go.
That's good. I knew all this was coming. I knew there was really no way around it, given our schedule. So it was just, sometimes you got to turn into the skid.
Did you get her a vacuum cleaner?
No, I did not. Although, I'm going to tell you, for her, that would be a wonderful gift because she vacuums constantly.
I did. My wife and I have been married maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe somewhere around there. And she wanted a new vacuum.
Yeah.
So that's what I got her for either birthday, Mother's Day, something like that. And her mom, who I love her mom, and that she was there, and I could tell when my wife opened the gift, like the mother-in-law was like, "What the hell? Giving my daughter a vacuum cleaner?" But it was a good vacuum. Lasted a long time.
Yeah, you might as well have just, for the public perception, wrapped it in an apron. Taking away her voter registration.
And all of her shoes.
Here you go, yeah. I mean, like that's how it looks. Like, what are you doing? But there you go. Yeah, no. Amanda's a very clean person. My house has never been cleaner in my life. And, I didn't find it, that was a little cluttered, but it wasn't like messy.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't dirty. It's a little cluttered, but now, I mean, that like if a little like a fuzzy thing like falls and lands on the ground, it's got. If it's while we're not there, that's the best chance it's got to live there. If it's while we're there, it's got about an hour.
Yeah.
And it's meeting the vacuum of doom.
Yeah.
So. And I love it. I'm not complaining at all. It's great. I didn't realize that things could be this nice and clean in my house. I just thought,
there you go.
Just thought it wasn't going to happen. All right, start him, sit him, Steve. Let's go.
Quarterback. So I think both Josh Allen and Dak Prescott are going to have bounce back games. So season long, you're starting them anyway. Daily fantasy. Dak's only 6,900, so I think that's actually a good price. It's an early game. They're playing Atlanta. It's at home, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great bounce back game for him. I like Derek Carr going up against Kansas City, and I really love Carson Wentz going against Jacksonville. Yes, Jacksonville shut down Josh Allen. I think that was just a weird, fluky thing. Carson Wentz is playing well, and then on daily fantasy, he's only 5,900. So. That's who I would look at there for quarterback. Sitting, I'm definitely sitting Roethlisberger. We just talked about him. They're playing Detroit. Detroit's defense isn't horrible, but Ben's clearly maybe only playing with one arm there. So I think that'll be tough. Also, Baker Mayfield against New England. New England's defense is good. Baker is cheap on daily fantasy, but I would avoid him if possible.
All right, Grayson, who you got?
Yeah, so obviously, you start the top guys, but like Steve said, I really like Carson Wentz this week. He's been a top 4 quarterback. If you combine the last 4 weeks, he's inside the top 4. He's been on fire, and Jacksonville, that's a good matchup. Buffalo struggled against them because Buffalo can't run the football. The Colts can absolutely run the football, so that's going to be a problem for the Jaguars in that one. I really like this. This is kind of a sneaky one, but I like Ryan Tannehill this week against New Orleans. New Orleans, great against the run. Not good at all against the pass. I think A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, they have good performances this weekend. As far as guys I don't like, or actually I got one more sneaky play that I like. Trevor Lawrence against Indiana. Yeah. The Colts have had problems in the pass defense game, mainly because they've been up and they give up a lot of garbage time points. But I just think Trevor Lawrence could be a sneaky play on the cheap. Guys I don't like, not a fan of Jimmy G this week against the Rams. Would not play him. And also, I'm not a huge fan of Taylor Heineke this week against Tampa Bay. Even though the Buccaneers are a pretty bad pass defense, I don't really like the matchup, and Washington's a little bit banged up.
All right, let's go to running backs. Steve.
All righty. Running backs I like. My favorite 3 this week are Dalvin Cook, Najee Harris, who we've already talked about, and Austin Eckler. They've all got good matchups. Eckler, actually, they're all pretty expensive on daily fantasy. So if you go that route, you're going to go cheaper somewhere else. James Conner, we talked about him already. Only 6,300. I think he's a good play for season long and daily fantasy. A sneaky pick if Zach Moss doesn't go. I know Grayson just said Buffalo can't run the ball, but if Moss doesn't go, then Devin Singletary is going to get almost all those carries. They're playing the Jets. The Jets defense isn't great. Again, I do think Buffalo is going to bounce back strongly in this one. So Singletary, if you need to pick somebody up because you got someone on waivers or daily fantasy, he's only 4,700. So it'd be a great bargain if you go expensive for someone else. I'm going to avoid Edwards-Helaire. I think he's due to come back this week.
I don't think he's coming back this week.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
I've read different things today. So Cleveland, Chubb is out, right? Or
He's on a COVID list.
COVID list. So
He's vaccinated, so he can potentially test out, but he's on the COVID list.
yeah, so just pay attention there to what's going on. Where'd he go? Well, the Tennessee running back situation. I picked up Adrian Peterson on a lot of rosters. He did score a touchdown last week, but man, I think his yards per carry was maybe 3, if that much. So him and Jeremy Nichols, don't know what's going to happen there. Avoid that if you can.
Yeah. So he's 2 yards tall, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
So he's basically only getting 1 more yard than his body length on his. He's a big dude, but he's 36 years old. I mean, and while I would love to be 36 again, I'm not an NFL running back.
Right.
So
Yeah.
his 36s are 48. Normal humans.
Yeah.
So Grayson, who you got running backs?
Yeah, it was sad to watch Adrian Peterson. My gosh. It's just hard to remember the good times when you're watching him run the way he was running for Tennessee. But, so I'm going to go really quickly with a start and sit, and they're on the same team. I really like J.D. Mckissick this week against Tampa Bay. I think they're going to be down. They're going to have to throw the ball, check downs. He's going to catch a lot of passes. And I really don't like Antonio Gibson this week against Tampa Bay because I don't think they're going to be able to run the football very well in that matchup. A few other guys that I'm kind of interested in. I like Melvin Gordon this week against Philadelphia, which also means I kind of like Javonte Williams as well. I think you could start either of them, and they both could be pretty quality starts. A sneaky play a little bit lower on the list, but Devonte Freeman for Baltimore. As long as Latavius Murray is out, he's going to have a pretty nice role in that offense, and they take on Miami, and Miami's a really bad run defense. So I think Devonte Freeman could find the end zone again and give you some pretty good value in that matchup. As far as guys I don't really like, not a huge fan of Damian Harris this week. Him and Ramondre Stevenson both went out with concussions. I don't know if either one's going to play. Either way, they're taking on Cleveland. Not a great matchup, in my opinion. I would try to stay away from playing those guys.
All right, wide receivers, Steve.
For receivers, Grayson already mentioned A.J. Brown. I think that's a good play against New Orleans. DK Metcalf with Wilson due to be coming back. I think that's huge for him. And then Keenan Allen had a great game last weekend. Lots of receptions. I expect him to do that again against Minnesota. And they're all decent values on daily fantasy. I would avoid Deebo Samuel going up against the Rams. I don't like that matchup, mainly because Jimmy G. Man, that's rough. And then we already talked about the Carolina situation with Darnold being out. I did see an article today that said maybe the receivers might benefit from Darnold being out. But until you see that for a week, I would avoid DJ Moore. And as we talked earlier, Robbie Anderson's been sent to the scrap heap already.
He's averaging like 4 yards a reception. It's terrible.
He was drafted in most leagues just because the way the rankings fell. He was there, and he had a track record and of doing well. At least maybe not a ton of yards, but at least catching balls. But man, that's not even happening right now.
Yeah. All right, Grayson, who you got?
Yeah, I really like both Tampa Bay wide receivers, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. As long as Antonio Brown is out, my goodness, those two, they're ceiling.
Godwin's got a bit of an injury this week, so you have to monitor him, but yeah.
Yeah. He was out today with a foot injury. We'll see what happens there. But, I mean, if he plays, he is – it's 2 weeks since Brown's been out. So really like him in this matchup. I like Michael Pittman again. If anyone's not a believer in what Pittman's doing, I think they need to turn that around because he's playing well, and he was a guy who was drafted probably as your fourth receiver or fifth receiver. So you're getting great value there with him. I also really like Jerry Judy against Philadelphia. We mentioned him earlier, as well as Jalen Waddle, who is quickly becoming a wide receiver too because he's just getting an infinite amount of targets. I like him against Baltimore. As far as guys I don't like, this is a tough one for me, and I know you can't bench him, but if DeAndre Hopkins plays and Colt McCoy's the quarterback and Hopkins is still limited with the hamstring, I'm very concerned with playing him. I don't know what the ceiling is in a matchup like that. I know you have to play him, but I'm just a little weary about it. I don't like Cortland Sutton this week either, partly because we saw what Darius Slay did to Mike Williams a week ago. I think he's going to shadow Cortland Sutton this week. That makes me out on Sutton for the week.
All right, tight ends, Steve. And it's a bad week for tight ends.
It's just weird in terms of daily fantasy because Kelsey, Waller, Gesicki, and Andrews all have games out of the main slate for the Sunday 12-3 games. So for season long, you're going to play them, obviously. But for DFS, you may have to get a little creative. I like Dalton Schultz. I think that's a good matchup against Atlanta. I also like we talked about Freiermuth earlier. Roethlisberger is not throwing it great, but he seems to like this kid a lot. So that could kind of be his new. I can see Freiermuth and Najee Harris leading the team in receptions for a while.
Well, except for Deontay, right? Or you think even more than Deontay?
Possibly, yeah.
Wow. Okay. At the tight end position for me, I mean, I think this is the week where you don't pay up for tight end because, like you said, you got Freiermuth at 3,900, but then you also have Dan Arnold at 3,500 and Tyler Conklin at 3,400. I think all three of those guys are great plays and can give you pretty good value to supplement your roster and then go out and spend a little bit more on those higher end running backs or wide receivers for the week.
All right, let's take a break here. When we come back, we help Hayden's roster. And then, after that, we do our daily fantasy showdown thing. And this is going to be difficult because the players picking the captain is going to be tough this week.
Yeah.
Picking the captain is going to be tough because of the values that you really have to look at. And knowing who's going to score the most points in this game is probably Lamar Jackson. So you kind of want to put him as the captain, but then that you're only going to have $30,000 or less than $30,000 on the way out. So it's going to be interesting to see. We'll dive into all that in the next segment. This is the Fantasy Football Show brought to you by Brotherwell Brewing. on 365 Sports.
Life is back on, sports bettors, and BetUS has your NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, UFC, PGA, and yes, NFL betting lines up for their 27th year and live betting on all of it. Log into BetUS.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BETUS. BetUS for 125% bonuses with promo code SICK'EM125. Customer service pros are ready to get your phone, social, and online sports betting kickoff started now. Play with the proven mainstay in the industry. BetUS. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Use promo code SICK'EM125.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back into the Fantasy Football Show here on 365 Sports. Please like and subscribe when you get the chance, and like and subscribe to everything on the 365 YouTube channel. Paul Catalina, Steve May, Grayson Grunhaver, Hayden Bumpus produces, and this is the segment. The ladies love it because they love Hayden. They love the sound of Hayden. We don't have a camera pointed at Hayden, which, that's fine for me. So he's kind of a disembodied voice that he'll, come in and he'll say, I've got a problem on my fantasy football team, and then we will be the salve to the burn of what his fantasy football roster is. He could not do what we told him to do last week. So now we'll turn it over to Hayden. And Hayden, tell us what your problem is this week with your fantasy football roster.
Well, Zach Moss has been such a wild disappointment for me. It's unbelievable. But last week I couldn't get Devontae Booker like I wanted to. But I got Ty Johnson, and he ended up having a decent game, scored a touchdown. So it wasn't the worst thing ever. I did lose, though. So I heard, Grayson, you said J.D. McKissick over Zach Moss this week. What do you think?
Yes.
I'm all in for that.
Yeah.
McKissick is a snap play.
Is it a PPR league?
It is a PPR league.
Yeah.
I think that's an easy.
Yeah. And you have McKissick. You don't have to go claim him?
Yep, I have him on my bench, so
Good.
That's perfect. And then the only other thing is Jarvis Landry. I don't know what to think of him. He didn't do what I wanted at all last week. But I've got Christian Kirk, and I picked up Corey Davis.
Okay,
That's
with
tough.
DeAndre Hopkins potentially still out or hobbled,
How
I would feel okay about Christian Kirk.
yeah. How quickly can you pull up what players are available on waivers
Right now.
at the receiver spot? 'Cause I don't like any of those, honestly.
Yeah. But, if you've got a play,
Yeah,
I
if
think
you got-
Christian
yeah,
Kirk is
yeah.
the one. Jarvis Landry should now, look, it's OBJ's gone now. I know they were buddies, though, but, this should open it up.
Should, but man,
I don't know. But Baker doesn't really have he's not the guy who's targeting in one guy. He just kind of rolls with what's there.
I prefer Peoples-Jones, honestly, because at least you get the upside of the big play,
Yeah.
Over Jarvis, where you're just hoping on target. No?
Yeah.
Okay, so who's available is the ones that I'm looking at. Elijah Moore, who had a good game last week. Rashad Bateman, Michael Gallup, T.Y. Hilton.
he's out.
Those are the main ones.
Yeah. I think you got to
Marquez Callaway. I dropped him.
Yeah. Michael Gallup. Here's the thing about Michael Gallup. Let's wait and see what happens this week. But even still, he's the fourth target when he comes back. Maybe even fifth if you throw Zeke into that. Because it's Coop, CD, Schultz, and Zeke, and then him. And he's going to get his targets. He's going to help. He's going to score touchdowns. He's going to make plays. But it's not going to be an every week kind of a thing.
Is Hunter Renfrow available or no?
No, I played against him last week. Peoples-Jones is available if you think that is a better choice.
I agree with Grayson.
Yeah.
I think for me it depends on if Hopkins plays. If Hopkins plays, then I would rather play Peoples-Jones than Kirk. But if Hopkins doesn't play, then Kirk is a pretty good play. The targets have to go somewhere.
I would grab Peoples-Jones, just even if you don't use him this week. I think he's someone. So who's on your bench? Who can you cut?
Oh, that's the tricky part is I've got
Actually, I would cut Corey Davis probably.
Yeah.
that's
else-
true. I
who
just
else
picked
you
him
got?
up. I've got Allen Robinson who's on bye this week.
Yeah.
He's been disappointment all season. Christian Kirk, Goddard, J.D. McKissick, and Saquon. Oh, and Laviska Shenault.
I'll drop LaVisca.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
out.
I do
Yeah.
need to drop
Yeah.
him.
I would probably drop him for
Yeah.
him. And then also, who are you starting over Goddard?
T.J. Hawkinson. That was a question I had too. Those are two pretty solid
Yeah.
options.
Yeah, I guess you got to roll with Hawkinson,
Yeah.
but that's pretty good. I would almost, Hayden, look to possibly trade Goddard. If you can go get an upgrade somewhere, look around in your league and see if you can't trade him. Because if you have Hawkinson, who just was on his bye, you
He's
should be
good.
fine at the tight end.
Yeah, that's smart. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But cut Chenault, pick up Peoples-Jones, and then tentatively put him in. But like they said, if Hopkins is out, I would lean towards Kirk, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's do it, guys. The DFS Showdown Captain Mode for Thursday night. The Ravens and the Dolphins. The mighty, mighty Miami Dolphins. who bring out Bob Greasy and Larry Zonka. And
Is Tua playing or no?
they won't know until tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say let's kind of maybe pass on him.
No, I wasn't going to pick him.
Yeah.
I'm just curious how it would affect.
Yeah, how it affects the other ones.
Yeah.
All right, so Steve, you were not here last week. We'll give you the first pick since you were gone.
I'm just curious. What does Lamar Jackson cost?
20,000
Yeah,
if he's the captain. 20,700.
How much is Waddle? How much is Gesicki?
Waddle is 12.3. Gesicki is 11.1.
I'm going to go Gesicki in the captain spot.
All right. Grayson.
So just a concern to point out, he has not scored over 10 points with Brissett at quarterback all year. Just I don't know, just throwing it out there, if that matters.
Then we're being contrarian enough to win $1 million.
You're right. Okay. All right. So Gesicki's in our captain spot. I'm going to go with Devonte Freeman at 6,600 to put in one of our flexes.
Okay. All right. So you know what? We've got 32-3 left. I'm going to be the one who does it. I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. We got to have him in there.
All right. So we have 18.5 left, an average of 6,166 per player. Hayden, what is your pick?
I'm going to take Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle at 8,200. Okay. 10-3 left
For 2 spots?
for 2 spots. I will give Grayson this next pick.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. I'm trying to see if we have any bargains because I would really like to put Mark Andrews on this roster, but 8,800 is the steep price. Okay, I'll give Steve some wiggle room. So I'll go with Rashad Bateman at 5,800. So at least 4,500. There's, a few options.
4,500. Steve, to you.
What are my options?
Your options are the Ravens defense, Justin Tucker, the greatest kicker maybe of all time. Belton High School product, Durham Smythe. That would give us 2 Dolphin tight ends, by the way. Patrick Ricard. Adam Shaheen.
I don't want to pick the Ravens defense because then it's kind of going against all the Dolphins we have picked. So I guess I'm leaning towards Tucker.
Justin Tucker.
How much is he?
4,000. So we have 500 left.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's pretty solid.
Okay. So we're good with a Gesicki, Freeman, Jackson, Waddle, Bateman, Tucker lineup.
Let's do it.
Sounds
All
good.
right, there we go.
I like it.
Hayden, you good? All right, Hayden's good. We enter it in.
That gets the Daryl Dragon seal of approval.
Yes. All right, there we go. We'll try. Maybe I'll spend up, and we'll go and enter that lineup in something that's like really big instead of one of these. I say really big. I mean $20, but still.
That's a high spender.
That's a pretty big one.
Yeah, maybe we'll just to see what happens on one of these Thursday night games. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the show this week. And if you'd like to tweet it, nobody ever does, but if you want to, at Paul Catalina, at Centex Commish.
I got people sliding into my DMs all the time.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. And, of course, at Greg Grundhafer. So, and at Bumpus H, right?
Bumpus_H if you want to talk some Mavericks with me.
There you go.
Are you a fan of the movie Christmas Story?
Yes, I get that a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Just make sure we're good there.
Yeah. I'm surprised that his Twitter handle or his Instagram is not Bumpus Hound.
Didn't we say that? Yeah,
We should. But I mean,
We've
like,
had
did
this
that
conversation before.
I haven't changed your team name.
I did change my team name to the Bumpus Hounds.
the Bumpus Hounds? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, his like that. You should lean into that.
Yes.
Yeah. People have been trying to get me to do a podcast called Catalina's Island for years, but I don't know what
What does he say? Does he say sons of bitches, bumpuses?
Yeah.
When they don't-
That's what he does. The late great Darren McGavin.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, Grayson, you knew who. Like when I said Darren McGavin, you knew that, right? You're not too young for Christmas Story.
Well, now that you said it, I know. Well, I had no idea, man. I still too old for me.
Oh my gosh! Well, it takes place in Indiana. You're from Indiana. There's like two movies that take place in Indiana. It's Hoosiers and that.
Yeah.
Hey, Hoosiers is a good one.
Yeah. If you've seen Hoosiers, you should see Christmas Story. If Jack's also from Indiana. No, he's from Wisconsin. Never mind. But he's got Indiana family. Have you? Jack,
As do I.
Yeah, Jack. Have you ever seen A Christmas Story? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and you're more Christmas than Buddy the damn elf. So you should have.
Is that holiday movie or not? That's a top 10 movie for me.
Christmas Story?
Yes.
Yeah.
God, I love it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant script.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yep.
Everybody in the world can identify with it.
Yep.
I mean, everybody in America. I mean, if you're in India, you probably don't give a crap about it. But it's a great movie, and it's about Indiana. Here's your homework. I want you to find me a third movie that takes place in Indiana that anybody would have seen.
Okay, yeah, I'll work on it.
A third
I'm
movie
pretty
that
sure
takes,
I know a couple.
Yeah, a Hoosiers and A Christmas Story. Those are the ones I know that takes place in Indiana.
Yeah, none come to mind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
well, doesn't Rudy? Yeah.
okay, Rudy takes place in South Bend.
There we go.
There we go. Rudy takes place in Indiana.
And that's it.
That's it. Okay, a fourth movie that takes place in Indiana.
Okay.
A fourth movie that takes place in Indiana that anyone cares about.
Rudy 2, the Revenge.
I'm not knocking Indiana. I love Indianapolis. I've been there, but I'm just telling you, there's not many movies about Indiana. It's maybe an underserved movie market.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. I'll find one. I'll find a big list. We'll talk about them next week.
All right, good deal. That's Grayson Grunhaver. He's Steve May. I'm Paul Catalina. Thanks to Hayden Bumpus. Thanks to Jack McKenzie. Thanks to everybody for watching and participating in the show. And thanks to Brotherwell Brewing and this fantastic Waco town.
Brand new. It's a big deal when a brewery launches a new beer.
Yes.
So support it. And like I said, the can is really cool.
Yeah. Great can.
Great can.
And this is fresh from the beer cow right there.
I like nice cans. Do you?
Yeah, I love them.
Yep. All right.
I have no tolerance for bad cans. Can always fix that. This is the Fantasy Football Show, 365 Sports.